Every now and then I'll get a comment asking me to explain how I sort my Pokemon in my Pokemon storage. And well, that's precisely what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to be explaining how you could utilize the name sorting option and have your Pokemon sorted in a way where it's going to be incredibly useful. Alright, what's happening everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. Hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So, for today's video, I'm going to be talking about my Pokemon storage. Yeah, this may not necessarily be that exciting, but for anyone who has ever taken a peek at my Pokemon collection, you would see that I have them sorted a very specific way. You can see right here, I have all of my Shundos pretty much listed near the top of my collection, and at the very top, I have a couple of legendaries that really, these top 12 right here, this is my favorite Pokemon of all time, so I just like to look at them every time I open up my Pokemon storage. For a majority of players, when they open up their Pokemon storage, they probably are looking at this. This is basically your Pokemon sorted by your favorite, or they're looking at it like this, where they have their highest combat point value Pokemon at the very top, and then it's sorted this way. But for myself, I actually sort by name, and I actually have a number system for all of my Pokemon. Basically, all the Pokemon that I want at the very top, those are the Pokemon that are going to appear first because, as you can see with each individual name at the very beginning of their name, they have a numbering that allows me to see them at the very top. You can see right here, this Shadow Mewtwo. This is the first Pokemon that I want to see when I open up my collection. And the reason I do that is because it's one of my most used Pokemon, so I put a 001 in front of it. And you can see that I have it as smaller numbers. You can actually go to different websites to use a small number font, and then you could just copy and paste, or if you know how all the key commands, you could just type it in. But yeah, this is basically the way that I have it numbered. And it's not necessarily based on usefulness. I think that actually starts right here. You could see I have my Shundo Rayquaza, and then I have my two fusions of Necrozma, and then my two fusions of Kyurem. These are the Pokemon that I actually use the most right now, whether it be for PvP or gym battles or with PvE battles. These are the 5 Pokemon that I use the most, so naturally they're going to be near the top. But for these first 12 Pokemon, they're basically just legendaries, which I personally just really like to see, to look at. Although there are a couple of these that are actually incredibly useful, like my Shadow Mewtwo, along with Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon. I use these quite often. When I Primal Revert them, I will want them near the top, because when I'm constructing my teams, I would like to have easy access to them. So that's basically the way that I sort them, just based on the order. It really comes down to these 3 numbers at the very beginning of their name. As you can see, as I go along, they're all just in a numerical order for the order that I would like to see them. And then of course, I have all of these little symbols next to their names. These are something that I could explain right now. If you look at the cross right here, that is to indicate that there is some sort of legacy move or some sort of exclusive move on that Pokemon. Like for example, if you look at my Shadow Mewtwo, it has a cross. That means it has exclusive moves. And right there you can see Psystrike and Shadow Ball. Psystrike being an exclusive move, and Shadow Ball is a legacy move. So this Pokemon has special moves, and I just like to sort it that way because, yeah, when it comes to Pokemon, the best move may not necessarily be the exclusive moves or the legacy moves, but I tend to be more of a collector. I do not necessarily care too much about like PvP or even with raid battles. I tend to go with just whatever is the best Pokemon, but when it comes to my collection, the things that I want to look at every time I open up the Pokemon storage, I want to see all the Pokemon with rare exclusive moves. You can see my Ho-Oh, it has Sacred Fire, so it has that cross. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is that crown symbol. What that crown symbol is for every single one of my Pokemon that are completely maxed out. And as you can see, there's quite a few of those in my collection. There's also quite a few that do not have that crown symbol. Instead, they have this flower symbol. And the reason why I have the flower symbol, it's almost for the same thing. It's basically Pokemon that are leveled up to level 40, and they still need to be maxed out to level 50 with XL candies. For those Pokemon, I have a flower symbol. And you can see right here, this regular Rayquaza, this Raikou, this Entei, as well as this Suicune, they still have the flower on them. Eventually, I'd like to get them to crown status, which is my personal inward way of knowing that the Pokemon is maxed out. And aside from even these, if you scroll all the way down, like a lot of my Pokemon are fully maxed out. Some of the ones that I actually use, some of my legendaries are fully maxed out. And yeah, that's just also part of my sorting. Now, another symbol that you can see is going to be this, I don't know what you would call it. I guess it's like a little rose or like a little flower. This one right here. This one is to symbolize a Pokemon that I got from a special event. So for example, this Abomasnow, this Shundo Abomasnow, I actually caught this during Pokemon Go Fest. It actually doesn't say it on the catch card, but it's a Pokemon that I caught during a special event. Like another example is this one right here, this Shundo Necrozma. You could see, caught it at a raid, Hoffman Estates, Illinois, 7/14/2024. So it was during Pokemon Go Fest of last year. So even if the collection card does not necessarily say it, like this one actually does say it, I have that flower symbol there to show that this is a card, or this is a Pokemon that I caught from a special event. So that's the reason why I have that symbol. Now let's see if there's any other symbols that I have. I think there is actually one more. There is one more, and it's kind of related to that last one. So let me see here. No, I'm not seeing it anywhere. But basically, it is a symbol to show that it is a Pokemon that I caught while I was on vacation. Like that's, I can't really see any. Maybe I haven't caught a Shundo or a high IV shiny from a different, oh, here we go. So this Hydreigon, I actually caught it during a community day, but you can see right there, it was when I was on vacation in Michigan. And big shout out to the community out there. There's a lot of good Pokemon Go communities out in Michigan. This is another one. I caught it in Fort Lauderdale. This was right after a cruise. I actually caught this right off of I believe it was a field research task. I completed a field research task. It came out as a shiny, and it was also a 98%. It was pretty exciting. But yeah, that's what that symbol is. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that explains the symbols. That explains the numbering. Basically, this is the way that I sort my Pokemon. But you could see right here, I have my first top 12. These are the 12 legendaries, which I personally consider as my favorites. And then followed by that, I have these 5, which are my most used Pokemon right now. And then I have a bunch of Shundos and high IV shinies. The most recent one that I got is, of course, this 98% Vanillite evolution. I forgot what it's called when it's fully evolved, but yeah, you can see right here, most of these are community day Pokemon. I have a really good community who calls out high IV Pokemon all the time. And of course, I'm catching hundreds of Pokemon during community days, so sometimes I just naturally catch a high IV shiny, but a lot of these are just Pokemon that I've caught over the years, high IV shinies, high IV Shundos, different things like that. And then afterwards, I have my 100% IV legendaries, starting with this Nihilego. And you can see right here, they're all under the same number, and it's really because I do not have a specific sorting for these Pokemon. Basically, once I get to 94, it's about how far I want to go when it comes to Shundos and high IV shinies. And then I calculated it out. I kind of thought it out like in the future. I figured I probably will get as many Shundos as I will get to 94. So from here, it's basically all just 100% IV legendaries and mythicals. And then after that, you could see starting from 95, it's actually all of my 100% IV Blissies. And the reason why I have 100% IV Blissies sorted out is because when I'm looking for gym defenders, it's nice to have those Pokemon all kind of bunched together. However, I don't necessarily want to scroll all the way down by the time I'm trying to put in a gym defender. Like, obviously it takes a while. So what I actually do in that case is I just sort by HP, and then all the highest HP Pokemon appear at the top. They're almost always going to be Blissies and Chanseys. That's probably the faster, more efficient way to put in a gym defender. But yeah, that's basically how I sort my Pokemon. I know a lot of players sort their Pokemon very different ways. Some people just do it by combat power. That just seems to be the most general way to sort all of your Pokemon. Obviously, your most powerful Pokemon are going to show up at the top. And then other people will just go by favorite. Again, it also sorts by CP as well, so you know, it really doesn't matter. Like you can see right here, if I sort by favorites, and then I sort by combat power, it's pretty much the same Pokemon at the top. You know, some people might prefer that just because their most powerful Pokemon, they're the ones that they would want at the very top. But if you want a little bit more controlled with how you sort your Pokemon, you could definitely go with this numbering method. I think it's actually a lot more fun because personally for me, I do not care to see like Slackoth at the top of my list, or I don't know what else is at the top, like, I don't know, like Garchomp, you know, like some of these Pokemon just have astronomically high combat power values, even though they're not necessarily as useful. It's not as reflective of just how powerful they are. Sometimes I just want to have a little bit more customization, and this is the way that I do it. Maybe in the future, Niantic or maybe even Scopely Inc., when they take over, they'll give us the option to be able to manually sort our Pokemon. I think that would be really cool. That way I could just get rid of these numbers and just set it up the way that I want it to. But yeah, I really do not know how it's going to go down. But in any case, yeah, this is the way that I sort my Pokemon, and in the future, when we get rare candies, you're going to expect to see a lot of these Pokemon at the top reach 100%. And I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, there you go. For all those people who are wondering how I sort my Pokemon, what all the little symbols mean, this is the explainer. And maybe you could try it out for yourself. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding everything that I talked about down below. How do you sort your Pokemon in Pokemon Go? Or do you just go by favorites or combat power? Just basically tell me what you do, and then yeah, let's have a great discussion. If you feel like this was a very interesting method, then definitely share that as well. I would definitely like your feedback. And if you ended up enjoying this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and also don't forget the notification bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the absolute best way you can do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. If you become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids and the friendship system, opening and sending gifts. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, like all the players that you see on the bottom of your screen, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you're always welcome to do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms that you see on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow, and you'll have access to some exclusive content. With all that said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, and I'll catch you all later.
진솔아와 함께해